director and leading actor, Denzel Washington. You know what? Let's give them all a round of applause. Now, of this group, only one did not appear in the Broadway revival of Fences in 2010, and that's you, Jovan. Tell us what it was like to join this ensemble and what it was like to get the job.
Both of those instances were incredible for me. It was a blessing. I think it was definitely a job that every actor, would love to have. So it was a good fortune just to be in great company with this talented cast.
And what was your audition like?
Oh man, it was one of the toughest auditions I've ever had, but the most rewarding for me. I had a couple of auditions, and then my final one was with Denzel, and I was incredibly nervous and just freaking out because this is one of my heroes, and I've seen all his projects. So just getting to meet him was the biggest deal. I wasn't even thinking about the audition. I was like, I get to meet Denzel. When I came time to come, I was actually here at Paramount for the last audition, and I met him, and he was one of the warmest people that you could ever meet, and he just told me to focus on why we were here, just to have fun and play.
And here you are. Stephen, you're in the very first scene of the movie with Denzel. Very first shot. And I'll speak for me, but I bet I'm speaking for a lot of people here. We just automatically accept you guys as old friends, as well as coworkers. It's just instantaneous. Can you explain why and how that happens?
Well, you run into people and you say, it's like you've known them for a long time, you get that soulmate kind of a feeling about the thing, And, like everybody else, the first time I saw him on screen, saw him doing the work, he's like somebody you know. But when we first started working, we did the play, I was a little, how's this going to be? But he's just one of the warmest, I have to say, and it occurs to me to say it because he's shown me this. He's one of the greatest Christians I've ever met. I mean that from my heart. And then I got to do the run with him on Broadway, and that was just an incredible bonding kind of a situation for all of us, everyone in the cast. And then I did another show with him on Broadway, and he would talk about fences from time to time, and then I had hip surgery, and I was in rehab, and I got a call from him, and he said, you're laying there worried about if you can do this, man. I said, well, kind of, he said, no, I got you, man. We're gonna make this. Don't worry about it. You'll be able to get on the garbage truck. You'll do all of this and that. And so, by the time we got to do it, I did feel as close as Momo and Joe. I really did, so.
It shows. It comes over. Mykelti, can you describe the difference, if any, in your performance on stage and what we just saw on film? Did you feel you had to adjust or adapt your performance at all?
Oops, sorry. Absolutely. There was and everyone can attest to this, but the only adjustment, the truth goes with you wherever you go. The only adjustment that I made was intimacy. On stage, you can't have that level of intimacy, with the cinematic application. So intimacy gave birth to a whole world of discovery. There were things I thought I understood on stage on Broadway, but man, I didn't come close until the intimate factor kicked in. So, that for me, that was the difference. And I think Viola has an amazing story about that too. That really let me know that it affected the rest of the cast the same way.
So what did you think when you first saw the film, when you watched yourself on screen in this? Were you pleased with the result?
I wept because working with Denzel and August Wilson to me was a highlight. I've been a Denzel Washington fan for a very long time. I tell people he actually made it harder to be a good actor because he's so damn good that he makes you be able to do. And I realized early on when Denzel was tearing it up how proud he made us, but also how hard he made it for me as an actor. I had to dig deeper and find some things that he wasn't touching because he leaves no stone unturned. So for me, I wept because I knew it was a victory for August Wilson, and I felt like it was a victory for Denzel. He trusted us, and I could see that everybody showed up for this man sitting right here, and it was amazing.
Viola, you played this with Denzel and everyone else on stage. How many performances did you guys do?
14.
114 performances. And now I know that actors feel the audience. You feel the presence of the audience, and the audience changes from night to night or from day to day. Having done that with this specific material, how is it different putting it on film where you have a crew, but you don't have an audience?
Well, my choices as Rose is not predicated on an audience.
Mm-hmm.
It's predicated on circumstances that are within the world that I'm playing. I'm not thinking about who's watching me. You're not breaking the fourth wall. You know, you're within the house. You're within this marriage. You're in the backyard. You know, as Mykelti said, you're intimate, and that was, you know, probably one of the hardest things. You know, especially with the big blow up scene, because it starts in the house and it starts slow, and then it's no holds bar, but it's outside. You know, on stage, you're pretending to be outside, but you're inside. So to be in that small space outside and not having a filter was for me extremely intimate. I always say it's those moments in life. You see it in New York, you'll see a couple arguing and the snot is rolling down and the scabbard is running, and you almost feel uncomfortable because you feel like you're intruding on a very, very intimate moment. You know, I always feel like we always want to forget those moments because we have completely lost control. I did that with a girl once in college. I never go off on anyone. I went off on this girl. I threatened her life. I mean, I got down on all fours. I mean, I was crouching down saying, I'm gonna get your mother. I went off and I breathed. I went back to my room and I just thought to myself, what did I do? You know, I had a moment of just not seeing anything but my rage. But when you have to recreate a moment like that, that's very hard. Because I don't care what anyone says, you see those intimate moments on screen, there's some semblance of control there. But when you have to play something where there is no control, so if your titty flops out, you don't know because you fighting for your life is more important than people watching you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm just thinking two things I know. What did that girl do to you? Provoke that. That's the first thing I'm wondering. No, we don't have to go into detail. And I'm glad I wasn't that girl. Those are the two things I'm thinking right now. Well, Denzel, as the ringmaster here, as
Titty flops out. Say stuff on that.
You got it for that remark. As the ringmaster, the director, now not so much as the actor at this moment, how do you encourage that? How do you create a safe space for your actors to feel that they can do that?
You just do it. You leave people alone. First of all, you know, what they say, 80%, 90% is casting. Well, that's true. We have great actors. So, and I had the luxury, you know, we had the luxury of doing the play. So, I saw it every night, you know, and so just wanting to give everyone the room to fail if they wanted to feel free enough to try anything. That's it. And I can't say I actually did something to make that happen, but that was my intent.
Did you give yourself the same license?
I didn't worry about me. I really wasn't in it for me. I was in it for August, not for me. I'm good.
Do you think, this is abstract, I'm already sorry I'm asking this question as I'm asking it. Do you think people come away from this film with the intimacy the film allows, with a different experience in some way than they would have having seen the play?
People ask me, what do you want people to get from the film? I said it depends upon what they bring to it. So, for some, you might be Troy, you might be Rose, you might be Albert. You know, it is, yes, more in your face, and there's a score, you know, so it is a bit more manipulative, but and intimate. But the truth is the truth, and the performances, like I said, they speak for themselves.
They certainly do. Jovan, what was the most challenging moment for you of this shoot, of this film?
Getting out of my own way. As an actor, I mean, just being in this, you know, among these people, like I said before, you know, they were like a band. That's what Steven said before. They were like a band that had been doing this show for a while, and I didn't want to be that weak member coming in and not being able to contribute, you know, with the rest of the group. So I think it just really took the confidence of my director, for one, and the rest of the cast to just let me feel comfortable making choices as an actor and feeling comfortable in those choices and confident in them. And I feel moving forward, you know, working with Denzel has just been a blessing, and Viola and the rest of the cast, because I feel confident as an actor, you know, moving forward in my career and just trying to, you know, make strong choices and interesting choices.
Let's hear your end of it. What impressed you about Jovan that you cast him?
He was relaxed, and malleable. Is that the right word? You know, because I pushed him in different directions, and he didn't try to do anything, which I like. You know, don't get caught acting. So he was just relaxed, or he acted relaxed. and Viola loved it. Viola just, she was.
I said he's my baby.
Yeah, she loved him. I had to factor that in. You know, she loves it.
That matters.
Yeah, absolutely. That's her baby, and he looked like our baby. He didn't have any problem kissing her a million times after one scene. I said, just go big, just keep kissing her.
Viola, what are you proudest of with regard to this production? The fact that this has been captured on film now.
Oh man, there are no words. The fact that it's different. It's different. You know, it's a narrative that is in love with language. It's a project where you have to sit with the pathology of a black family they're just going through their lives. No one is making a social statement. It's not didactic. It's not filtered down. There's no white savior. It's straight no chaser. I love the fact that August wrote a man in the center of the narrative who is who he is. whether you like him or not. Straight no chaser. You know, I love everything about it, and I love that he wrote a complete woman. And I love that he wrote a mentally challenged man and he humanized him. I love the fact that every character goes on a journey. There's no character that's just used as a device. All of those elements that are always used in Black narratives over and over again, and people lap it up, is not present in this one.
This presumes an intelligence on the part of the audience, but it also demands attention, and it demands your engagement, your involvement, which I think is why it's so effective. Well, I got lots more questions, but I bet you have some out there in the audience. So we're going to take some, and maybe we should turn up the house lights a little bit so we can see you better. And all I would say is, please, ask good questions. We've all been to these screenings where that doesn't happen. So tonight, ask really good ones. We'll start right there. Yep.
Gotta yell, sweetheart, just yell.
How do you prepare for how do you prepare for crime scenes?
That's a very good question. Very good, fundamental question.
Are you an actor? Are you an actress? Are you an actor? Are you an actress?
Yeah.
Well, then this is career advice, on-the-job training. How do you prepare for a crime scene?
By not preparing for a crime scene. That's how you prepare for it. Because if you think okay, I'm going to cry, then that's all the scene is going to be about. It's about you crying. You got to absolutely dedicate yourself to researching, using a craft as to what the emotional life of the character is, what the stakes of the scene. It's a perfect example really fast is when Troy says, I'm going to be a daddy. It's allowing it to hit you. Trying not to cry, trying to save the situation. It's all those things you can learn in acting school, which you're going to go to. Juilliard is a very good school.
Yes. Mike's still, all right. We'll do this cluster of questions right here, and you can pass the mic around.
We got to see the real life of these characters, and I'm wondering if there's any experiences from your own real lives, besides a college brawl, that influenced how you played your characters.
Any of you care to weigh in on this? I don't know how you... Stephen, what about it? Stephen, you've taught acting as well as being an actor.
Yeah, I try to forget that. No,
So
but
do you-
every day that you live is preparing you for the next day. And so, and in some of those days, you're acting. And, I just think, at the end of your life, you don't get any time back when you say, well, part of that I was on the stage, so I wasn't really living. It's all your life, at the moment, at the acting moment that's coming up, it's your life. It's made out of your life. So, I had, one of the things for me in my journey that was useful for playing Bono is I was a part of extended family. It's a term, and I was raised by people who weren't related to me, and I've always had friends I was really tight with. I was welcome at their house and welcome at their table, and I was sometimes there when I wish I wasn't there. A lot of times that I remember being in somebody's house and everything was nice, and then something happened, and I was sitting there trying to disappear into a chair. So that's something that even in the process while doing it, I remembered as a child. I said, wow, I sure remember these moments, But I just maintain that, it's all of your life, you know. You put your fingerprint into your work. You just gotta put your fingerprint in.
Great answer. And is the mic still being,
Yeah, we have it right here.
okay.
Hi, my name's Chandel, and thank you guys all for your performance. My question is for Denzel. We've seen you do so many things, and I guess I just want to know what led you in this direction, and how is it directing and acting?
Well, I started on the stage, and for about 15 years, I didn't do any stage work in New York because we were raising our children, and I couldn't do 8 shows a week. So from 1990 to 2005, I didn't go back to New York. In 2005, I went back and did Julius Caesar and then Fences, and then Raising the Sun. So, what was the second part of the question? I try not to do both at the same time. Again, like I said, you just do what's necessary. You know, I don't say, oh, now I'm the actor, now I'm the director. Now it's not. It doesn't work like that. I'm just there for basically whoever needs me. You know, sometimes it's the cinematographer. Very rarely it was the actor. You know, just solving problems. There's a million problems a day, and you just got to solve them all.
Where do you have it? Up here?
Hi, you were saying about how there weren't any stereotypes that were being relied upon with the characters. How were you able to get people to invest in a project like that with minority characters? And how did you get them to have confidence in the story and that it would speak to people?
What do you mean when you say minority characters? What does that mean?
Non-white characters.
There are more people of color on this earth than there are. So, you got word of mouth. I'm not knocking you. It's just, you see how easy it came out? It's just something to think about. I've never been called a minority character. I don't think I've ever played a minority character. I don't know being a minority character. I haven't played too small, man.
What Viola said about the content here and the intelligence here in August Wilson's work. It's tough to get movies like that made, of any kind, that are on that
I
level.
went to the studio, I said, I'll do it. They gave me the money. And that's because I made other movies that made the studio money. It's business.
Right.
Not philanthropy. It's all show business. It should be all business show. If I loan you $25 million, I want my money back. I don't want to hear about how good an experience it was for me. I want to hear about who it uplifted, the day you made it, how you feel about it. I want my money back. So when I go to someone and ask them for money, then I have to be fiscally responsible to bring them their money back, so that they'll give it to me the next time.
Perfect answer. Perfect answer. And
Yes, go ahead, Darwin.
Yes,
Yes,
go for it. Yes.
I just want to thank you guys for being such amazing storytellers and taking this craft so seriously. I was so moved and so inspired. And Viola, especially on a day like today where we're celebrating women everybody. For Denzel for creating such a great project and such strong characters. And as actors, we try to study the greats and people that come before us. And so I just wanted to know who inspired you and who do you study and what movies, are your favorites?
Who do you like? Well, I don't know if you know who these actors are, but I grew up watching people like Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney, Vincent Price, even Jonathan Winters, people who could change characters and shift. And that's kind of what fed my instrument, was that. And so every person in this room, every actor in this room could do this, and they would do it wonderfully and differently. So always believe in yourself. Never allow anybody else to shake you, because your gift is valuable. You are valuable. And that's something I just want you to never, ever forget. Don't look to us like we have a magic. We do what you do, and you do what we do. Just keep getting better. That's all. Yes.
You from New York? I hear that accent. Talking sports, talking. Queens? Or Brooklyn? Long same thing.
Viola, first I want to say thank you for paving the way for women of color in Hollywood. Thank you. So, piggybacking off of that, as a woman of color in Hollywood, a working actor, how do you stay strong in the face of adversity? Because it's tough for us. How do you keep your head up high and stay strong?
Everyone asks me that question all the time, and there's a part of me that wants to go, well, let me tell you how I stay strong. I don't always feel strong, but I think how I stay strong is that at this point, I don't feel like I have any other choice. I don't. I mean, I'll tell you what helped me a lot. Turning 50 helped me. Having a kid helped me. Being married helped me. Being a producer helped me, because now I got to go in the room and actually pitch a project that doesn't necessarily have me in it. And at some point, confidence has got to motivate you. And I have to say, I know it sounds cheesy, but the TV show helped me. Because all of a sudden I have to play a character that really is very specific, described as sexual, sociopathic, smart lawyer, and I'm thinking, I'm not a size 2. I don't look like any woman who's described like that. And then I asked myself the biggest question that literally at 49 unlocked everything. And the big question was, why can't I be that woman? I know all that. I'm very aware of how people see me. I'm very aware I'm not Halle Berry. I'm very aware I have a deep voice. I'm very aware of how I look and what the so-called quote-unquote standard is. But I also know there's 350 million people on the earth, and most women who are rolling around in bed or going through their lives don't look like Halle Berry. And that being said, if my job as an actor is to create a human being, a character, then why can't I? Why? I always use the Joseph Campbell quote, which is, the privilege of a lifetime is being who you are. And at some point, you won't be dead a lot longer and you're going to be alive. And there's no kind of beam me up, Scotty, and change and transform me into someone else. So at some point you have to realize you are all you got. That's it. There's nothing else. She's a black motivational speaker. She's a woman. She said, if you're afraid to die, then just dive afraid. Just do it afraid. Something is gonna stick, you know? And I'll tell you one thing, I don't care what anyone says. If you do something that's dynamic and honest, people will lean in. I don't care what you look like, they will lean in.
You leave on that. Which is fortunate because we're out of time. And I'm sorry we don't have more time, but let's thank everybody for being here today.